who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome to the Wow Report. We are coming to you almost live from Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood, California, World of Wonder headquarters. And the Wow Report, each and every week, we count down the top 10 things that make us go, wow! Oh my God, that's so quick. I'm Tom Campbell, the Chief Creative Officer at World of Wonder, and I am joined this week and every week by Club Kid turned best-selling author, James St. James.
Hello.
Hi, James.
Hi, honey.
I love this shirt. Is it new?
How dare you? It's like my third day in a row wearing it. That's where I'm at right now.
It's gorgeous. Wear it every day. Now, Fenton Bailey, our fearless leader, he's out making a documentary, darling. Something you'll be watching on a premium network soon.
I do miss him. He seems to be going more and more frequently. We need to maybe have a permanent guest host.
Yeah, he's going to love to hear that. But joining us, we're so lucky to have actress, entertainer, dancer, choreographer, great beauty icon, Candis Cayne.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my God.
The gorgeous,
Oh
the
God.
fabulous, the wonderful. You know, we just spoke
Thank
to you
you.
last week when we were doing the RuPaul show, and
The
you were
Star Walk.
so
Oh my God.
scintillating,
Oh my God.
so exciting that we thought, let's bring her
I
back.
am distracted.
God.
No one ever looks this good on our show. Let's just watch Candis. I know you're listening to the radio. This isn't a lot, but Candis, it was beautiful.
I was just
Oh my
talking
God.
to her before we came in, and she says that she bounces out of bed every morning at 6 a.m. looking like this.
Yeah.
She does yoga. She's an actual adult. Because I knew Candis back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've kind of always been an adult, even back then. Like, even if, like, because the tunnel would be open till, 7 in the morning or something.
Sure.
And I made sure that I was booked up until only 3, and I always left the club and was in bed by 3:30.
See, but
I love that that's early in New
I
York.
know, it's early in New York.
But you gave the impression that you were having fun right along with us. We didn't
Well, I
realize
was.
what a calculating
3:30.
bitch you were, that you were actually like Machiavellian, like out to take
Checking
over
my
the
watch.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, how soon can I get away
Because
from
I
these
had to get up
freaks?
by 10, and I had to start the day, people.
Well, that was then, and this is now, and there's a lot to talk about.
Yes, sorry.
Let's start our countdown, starting with number 10.
Number 10.
And our number 10 is Candis Cayne.
Oh my God, stop it. I
You
can't believe
digging the
it.
theme here? It's amazing. Now, you were talking to Candis last week, but you were on Grey's Anatomy.
I know.
You're
oh my
on
God.
The Magicians.
Oh my God, dream.
You're the
parts.
fairy queen,
I'm
aren't
the
you?
fairy queen.
I don't watch. You're gonna have to tell us about the Magicians because I don't watch it. All I see is those fabulous pictures of you riding into battle, or what? What are you doing?
on a white horse.
Yes,
with no reins. So I'm
you look
like,
fantastic. It
Thank
sounds
you.
really fun. But also, you have a book out called
Hi, Gorgeous.
Does it have words in it?
yes, it does have words, but there are a lot of pictures.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Was that the selling point that you get to have lots of photo shoots?
Well, yeah, I went to New York and I did a full photo shoot because I really wanted a lot of pictures and a lot of, visuals for the
Yes. What was the point? What's the point of the book? I haven't read it. I'm sorry. I can't lie.
book. Well, that's not very nice.
It's
I'm
transforming.
I'm leaving here right now, and I'm going to Amazon, the bookstore Amazon, and I'm going to buy it.
I can tell you, it's transforming your inner power into radiant beauty.
It really I talk a lot about, actually I was at DragCon 2 years ago.
RuPaul's DragCon, May 11th, 12th, and 13th. Go on.
Yes. And a girl came up to me and said, "Oh my God, Candis, you're so beautiful." She was like 13. And I was like, "Oh my God, that is so sweet. You are so beautiful." And she was like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "No, really, you're a gorgeous, gorgeous little girl." And she's like, "No, I'm not." And I thought, how does this girl not know that she's beautiful? And I remember those moments at that age feeling so confused and not knowing who I was and feeling really ugly. And I wanted to write a book that talks about, of course, all beauty tips there are, but also
The
talk
journey.
about the journey and confidence and how important confidence in your life is.
Now,
That's great.
tell me a little bit about your journey because we all know you.
I do want people who may be listening who may do not know the fabulous span of Candis Cayne. I want a little history. I want the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people know you from, you get a lot of exposure by being on I Am Caitlyn,
Right.
Caitlyn Jenner.
But of course, you
Which
were.
I called I Am Candis with Caitlyn Jenner. That's how I watched it, by the way.
But you were. I mean, I don't know if this is correct, but you were the first trans actress to be featured on a network show? Is that what it was?
A recurring character,
a
main character on a network show.
On my favorite title show of all time,
Dirty Sexy Money.
That's a good name for a show.
It really is.
They should just bring it back year after year. Reboot it.
It was an amazing show, an amazing time. I had no idea how big of an impact it would be for our community. And when I first got it, and the more I was on the show, the more I realized that this is like kind of the first time this has happened and the first time people have seen anything like this. And it was such even though I was a mistress, we were in love. And that was like the first time you really ever saw trans love.
Well, it's interesting because I remember my friend network. Lisa Edelstein was on Ally McBeal, and she played a trans woman.
Right.
And but she was a cis woman playing a trans woman because people weren't doing that yet.
Yeah.
And that was considered a big deal. But this, is interesting because now I don't know what your Grey's Anatomy character is.
I play a doctor, Michelle Velez.
And is there any?
She discovers this new SRS surgery, and she convinces two of the doctors to perform it on her.
Oh, okay.
So that's
an SRS surgery is for the general public.
Just sexual reassignment surgery.
Fabulous.
Now, but at a certain point,
I mean, there's other terms now. I don't know them all. I mean,
but at a certain point, you want to be able to do every role that's out there.
Well, and I have been doing that with the magicians.
Yes.
Like I was cast as the fairy queen. There's no gender. There's nothing. No gender talk in it.
And
which is
at
nice.
a certain point, it's not trans actress Candis Cayne, like trans, director
Candis
Andrea
Cayne.
James.
Yes.
Like just
I say it's
actress.
blacktress. No, that's wrong.
But on the flip side of that, I don't mind doing these trans roles either, because every time I'm on television, every time I'm doing one of these roles,
you're moving the needle.
I'm moving the needle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And whether you want it to be or not, you're a pioneer. You know what I'm saying? You're part of the beginning of a movement, and you're still doing it. That's what's so amazing.
It's kind of amazing. Last year, Time gave me put me as one of the firsts.
Yeah.
And that was like such a
I remember that issue.
Major deal, because you live your life, you do what you can do, you do the best you can do, you treat people nice, and you hope that it makes a difference and makes change. So when you're recognized for that, it's kind of incredible.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well,
and I remember I was not part of the club scene in New York, but I saw you perform in LA 10, 15 years ago, where you did kind of the Wonder Woman, where you run out of the club and into the street. That, to me, if you had peaked there, you would have changed the world. But you've done so much since then. Tell people what you used to do.
Well, I mean, I started this whole thing in New York City. I was working at, it was called the Tomato Restaurant on 6th Avenue and 21st Street, and it wasn't quite gay. It was like, it was in that more straight kind of nightclub area. And I, one night, just started going out onto the street and started talking on the microphone, and I started performing on the street. And
like through the window, they could see you, and people would follow you.
And people would follow me. I have had so many crazy. There was a drug bust on the window during my number. I was doing Nasty Girl, and the police shoved this guy up against the wall. I mean, I had a group during Fleet Week of 15 sailors pick me up in the middle of 6th Avenue and carry me into the bar while I was performing. I had a lot of those moments.
Candis, I know you're a fancy, award-winning Time magazine reporting actress, but we have a window here.
This is actually
Should we do one night only? Should we do one night only, bringing Candis's act back?
Would you?
I totally would. Although, I mean, of course, on Hollywood Boulevard.
They don't know
this is
that
the perfect.
Oh my God!
This is the perfect kind of location, because you're in this crazy. The only thing I'm nervous about in New York City, you could time traffic really well. Here, the cars are a little crazy, so I'd have to be a little careful running into this
We'll get
Hollywood
you some security.
street.
We'll get you some drag queen
I love
security.
Can you imagine Raja holding up traffic?
Pork
Oh my
chop.
God.
Pork
So
chop, that's
see
more-
Candis on Grey's Anatomy, on The Magicians, and the name of your book again, I'm sorry?
Hi, gorgeous.
Hi, Gorgeous. How can I forget Hi, Gorgeous?
Hello,
Gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Hi, Gorgeous.
Kinda
Get it wherever
coined
fine books are sold. And so glad you're here. Stick around, because we are moving on to number 9, James St. James.
Number 9.
Number 9. I watched Game Over Man on Netflix, okay? which is not something I would normally watch. It's sort of a dude bro reimagining of Die Hard, okay? Starring the Workaholic Boys, Anders Holm, Andy Devine, and Blake Anderson, okay? Do you
Stop at Andy Devine. Keep going.
Okay, you know who Andy Devine is. I have a thing for...
Adam Devine.
Anders Holm... Adam Devine? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anders Holm, Adam Devine, and Blake Anderson, I guess. They're all really cute boys. They're if you've ever watched Workaholics, it's just very like dudes. It's very like fart jokes, and I mean,
you can sort of smell the BO, right?
It's
kind of guy smell.
They're straight. They're very, very straight. But it's interesting because this moves the needle in 3 very important scenes that I want to talk about. The first scene is there's an extremely graphic full frontal noodle of Adam Devine, and you see cock balls, you see pubic hair, you see taint, you see butthole. It is long. It is the most male nudity I have seen outside of porn anywhere.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Still like such
Taboo.
a big deal.
It is a big deal. Well, they offered him a prosthetic penis, and he said no. It's then you spend your whole time talking about the prosthetic penis in interviews. He said it's just my dick, it's just my balls. Like whatever, go do it. And I think that's really refreshing. And I want to see more of that in 2018. He's not sexy. It's done for laughs and funny.
Right. It's not sexual. He's not like
well, he is. He's jerking off I mean, you see it in various stages of arousal.
I see.
He's hanging from a belt in the closet.
We'll be right back.
Porn
We're
is
gonna
this?
go watch.
Yeah.
What minute? So we can fast forward.
The second thing is there's a bad guy, okay, and he's taking all these people hostages, and he takes one of the characters, and he says that he's going to torture him, and he takes an overweight guy from the crowd, he pulls his pants down, he bends him over, and he says, you're going to eat his ass, and that's supposed to be his torture. And instead of being like, the guy's like, whatever, okay. And he goes in and just like that. And at first, there's like 100 hostages, and everyone's like, ugh. And then all of a sudden, he just keeps going and going and going. And they're like, go, yes. And it's just this guy eating this ass. And afterwards, the guy pulls him out and he's like, no, I'm not done. And the guy's like, what? And he's like, look, I've slept with 1,000 women. You don't think I've eaten a few men's asses along the way? He's like, it's no big deal. I love it. And
I love that.
And that was like just sort of like, okay, that's sort of an important lesson for dudes out there that it's not that big of a deal.
Keep it clean. Is it that called tossing a salad?
It is. And they say, he's like, yeah, I've tossed a few salads.
Okay.
You know? And then the other scene
Want to
is
teach as well.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
entertain.
yeah. At the very end, one of the three.
Kitchen? Is that the front? I can't remember.
Blake Anderson, who sort of plays a homophobic character, and all through he's like pussy, and then at the very end he's like, guys, I have something to tell you, and they're like, you're gay. We know. You tell us every time you get drunk. You've told us 100 times. We've just been waiting for you to tell us when you're sober. We love you, man. It's no big deal. Whatever. And then he's like, okay. And then he sort of gets a little effeminate and turns into a cliche. But it's a great message that like it's just these dudes and they're like their friend is gay and they never bother to. They just don't care. So it's like. It's not a really great movie, but
You made it sound amazing.
I know. Oh, God, everybody's going to be
but it has a really nice message of inclusion, and it's nice just because the people who are watching it are all going to be douchebaggy little 14-year-old kids.
Right.
And it's a nice little message to show them that it's like, hey, no big deal, whatever.
So if you want to see real dick, real taint, real butthole, real ass eating, tune into Game Over Man, currently streaming on Netflix. Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
I have my movie plans for the night.
For the afternoon.
Yeah.
Let's move on to number 8.
Number 8.
All right. Did you, Candis, happen to see the cover of Paper magazine this month?
I did. And actually, my friend Rob Talty did her hair. For it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I
And
would think
Kaylee did her makeup.
I thought she was wearing no makeup. It hadn't her. I'm talking, of course, about Christina Aguilera, who is in the cover of Paper magazine, hot off last week's premiere of RuPaul's Drag Race, where she was
Beat
dragged.
for the back row.
Beat for the back row. Pink hair, pink things, amazing drag. She shows up on Paper magazine this week with just like wispy hair, freckles. Who knew she had freckles?
Oh my
Adorable.
God,
I
so
mean,
cute,
She
right?
looked like 14. She looked like a cross between Chloe Sevigny and Sissy Spacek.
In the 70s.
In the
yes.
70s. Just like just such a natural like beauty. Like who knew that she had those little? It's
so cute, and she needed this because she's always in so much drag.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she needed this kind of change of direction. She needed people to see her in a different light.
Well, I
and it
still
was
think
perfect.
of her in her assless chaps, you know, in the
Dirty.
dread.
It's about time for my arrival.
Yeah.
I know. Listen, we as gay people sometimes cannibalize our idols. You know what I'm saying? Like Christina Aguilera was like everything, and then she was always compared with Britney, and there was that horrible moment, not horrible moment, when Madonna kissed Britney and then was going to kiss on the MTV Video Music Awards years ago, and then she turned to kiss Christina, but they cut to Justin Timberlake reacting. So Madonna kissed Britney and poor Christina didn't. But Christina, I got to tell you this from working with her that brief time on RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't know her very well. She was a sport. She was funny. And there's a if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, or if you don't, there is a video extra that you may or may not have seen, which is Christina Aguilera came on the show this season pretending she was Pheromone, who was a queen from last year who looks just like Christina Aguilera. And so she played along. And then we flew out. It wasn't enough time to put it untucked, but we flew out Farrah when Christine was in full RuPaul's drags, and they meet, and it's Farrah and Christina
it was very
Aguilera
cute.
It was really
talking
cute.
to each
I
other.
saw that.
Yeah.
What
That's
did
the
you
cool
tell
thing
Farrah?
about-
We said, get here, there's $50. Don't ask questions.
$50 and a drink ticket.
We told her that there was a surprise that she would like it. And she may have been clued in, but I don't think anyone's prepared to turn a corner
Right.
and see Christina Aguilera in sort of a Marilyn Monroe beaded gown and fur.
Well, they were sort of dressed alike. That's the thing.
Yes.
Like, yeah. What is your favorite Christina Aguilera song?
Oh, I lived listening to Fighter for about a year.
Okay.
It was
Which
a-
one is that?
Fighter? You thought you could destroy me, but you only made me stronger. I can't. We'll
don't
play it on
act
the way
like you
out.
don't sing all the time.
Fighter, make it big little bits faster.
Oh, yeah,
Make it a little bit thicker.
I made so much
Make
money
me
off
that
of
much
Candyman.
stronger. Really?
Oh, really?
Candyman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Candyman.
I'm a fan of the old ones, like What a Girl Wants and
Oh my
Genie
God,
in a
that is
Bottle.
my favorite. Yes, What a Girl Wants. Yeah, I think What a Girl Wants, and then Beautiful, of course.
Beautiful is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Which I did start before the taping. I was every day is so wonderful. That's my 11 o'clock number. I'm saving it for later in the show. But if you haven't had a chance, there's very few times. Paper Magazine still pulls it out, right? There's very few. Paper Magazine really pulls it out because there's very few magazines that I would say rush out and buy. Like look at it online, but like I still have the Kim Kardashian Breaks the Internet by my bed and the Miley Cyrus Paper Magazine.
Yeah, they do know how to like really make you want to buy something and frame it, and yeah.
Paper Magazine is now on newsstands. Go buy some paper. Bring it home. Put it on the coffee table. That's what it's for. Now we're going to take a little break.
Okay.
But before we do, Blake provides us with a trivia question that we hear now, then the commercial plays, and then everyone rushes back as we guess the answer.
Okay.
Isn't that really intense?
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, here we go.
Blake, what do we got?
Okay, who in 2007 said, speaking of male nudity, I'm going to get a penis or a vagina in every movie I do from now on. It really makes me laugh in this day and age with how psychotic our world is that anybody is troubled by seeing any part of the human body.
In
Who said that?
2007, 11 years ago. We will find out the answer to that and so much more as we continue to count down the top 10 things that make us go,
Wow.
Here
Oh
on the
my
Wow
God.
Report on Radio Andy. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
All right, we are back. It's the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM. I'm Tom Campbell here with James St. James. Our extra special guest filling in for Fenton Bailey, Candis Cayne.
Hello.
Hi, darling.
For those of you who've never watched our show on YouTube but only listen to us on Radio Andy, this is the show to watch on YouTube because you get to look at Candis Cayne. I'm sorry, I'm objectifying you, darling.
God, it's okay.
You look beautiful. And also beautiful, but off camera, is Blake Jacobs.
Aw, thank
Whenever
you.
Blake's on camera, he gets a lot of love in the
He
comments.
does.
You know?
I know. People are like, who knew he was such a cute little
I
bear?
know. All right, before the
Little
break,
Berenstein bear.
before the break, we asked a little trivia question. Blake, will you repeat the question and we'll make a guesses here?
I will. In 2007, this person said, I'm going to get a penis or a vagina in every movie I do from now on. It really makes me laugh in this day and age with how psychotic our world is that anybody is troubled by seeing any part of the human body. Who said that?
Candace
Sandra
Jessica?
Bullock.
Oh, nice.
Meryl Streep.
Madonna. Director Madonna.
It was Judd Apatow.
Oh, I Judd Apatow. I think he's so handsome.
He is really cute.
Did you ever see his penis? Remember when he showed his penis on he showed his penis. There's a video of him waving his penis in at someone's car.
I saw that, but we don't know if it's really truly him.
I want to believe it's him because it's a nice penis.
Judd, I know you're listening. Call us about the penis. All right, let's continue our countdown of the top 10 things that made us go, wow. Oh, I threw you off. And we're at number 7.
Number 7.
Speaking of Judd Apatow, Blake, you're a very good producer. You know what you're doing here, lady. I have now watched 4 hours of the Zen Diaries of Garry Shandling, directed by his mentee and dear friend Judd Apatow. Have you seen it?
I haven't yet.
That's okay.
Oh my God.
Garry Shandling is one of those people that I just loathe, and yet I hear that this is quite interesting, and that it makes you really reevaluate him.
You have learned. You're ready for politics, young man. You're good.
That was good.
Here's the thing, and this is gonna be a theme now. 4 hours I've watched. I'm not done watching it. It's a 4.5 hour. Last night at 11, I was like, I have to go to sleep.
What is it about Garry that they can dig so deep? What is his?
Here's the part of it there's a couple parts of it that I like. It is too long. It's like a podcast, except you have to watch. Do you know what I mean? Like a podcast you can have on and I don't know, bake cookies or something.
Yeah.
But this is like
Wait,
4
bake cookies?
Bake cookies. This is me mixing.
Oh, I thought you were shaving your armpits.
Baking cookies, tossing salad, baking cookies. Yes.
For our deaf viewers.
I knew Judd Apatow. I don't know him well, but I was an assistant at HBO back in the heyday of comedy for Chris Albrecht. Judd Apatow was a UCLA student, like very, very aggressive and very driven. And he was also Bob Zmuda, the head of Comic Relief's assistant. And I knew him then, and he'd be like, I'm going to Irvine tonight to give jokes to Garry Shandling. Like, he really was involved with Garry, and Garry became his showbiz family. And so
a bit of a mentor.
Yes, and Garry, and they were friends, and Garry, I think, was very generous to like a lot of people, including Judd, people he saw great potential in. And it turns out that Garry Shandling was also like a Buddhist and kept journals. So there's this, here's this sarcastic guy, and it just tells every bit of his life, starting in Arizona, and he had an older brother who died, and the mother was probably mentally ill and got a little overprotective of him. And then and the first it's a 2 parts, and the first 2 hours is kind of the building of Garry, and the second 2.5 hours is kind of some of the unraveling, if you will. And the first 2 hours is kind of like he was a rocket scientist. He was like an engineer or something, very, and he was like, I'm really good at this. I don't want to do this the rest of my life. So boom. And Garry Shandling's hair should be in a time capsule because it's so 70s and so big and unreal. And so then he decided, I think I'm going to be a writer. So he moved to LA and he wrote on Sanford and Son. Like he wrote a spec script and got it. Then he wrote like a Welcome Back Kotter, and he was just like, and supposedly he Judd tweeted that he quit writing when he pitched a story to Three's Company, and the producer said, Chrissy would never say that.
I quit.
Exactly. But supposedly he was just like, I can't imagine doing this over and over again. I love the creativity. So he was, I want to be a stand-up. And he was kind of the stiffest, least performer. And what I like, it sort of weaves in the Comedy Store and what was happening in the late 70s and early 80s. And he sort of just powered his way through learning how to become a performer and to have acts.
Well, he then, he's sort of the comedian's comedian. I mean, he's
Yes.
like, he's sort of an insider, like everyone worships him in the comedy field, right?
Yes, it's true. And there's lots of interviews with the best people. I mean, you'll see it yourself, but there's a moment where he does the Tonight Show and they show the full clip. That's the nice thing about the long one. They show the full clip of the Tonight Show, which was the epitome for a comedian at the time. And a friend of his was backstage, I think Kevin Nealon, and said he just burst into tears afterwards, like inconsolable, because he said, this was my dream and it's done. So he kept setting new goals for himself. And he did, remember, It's the Garry Shandling Show.
Yeah.
Welcome to It's the Garry
It broke
Shandling Show.
it was breaking the fourth wall, and
yes.
it was, yes. Uh-huh.
And they said we owe a lot to Garry. But at 4 seasons of that, he was like, this is not right. This makes me feel empty as he's pursuing this Zen career. And someone said to him, it's because these are two-dimensional characters. This is all a joke. So then he quit that at the height of its success and eventually did Larry Sanders, which was about a talk show, but
it had many of the same elements elements, but it went deeper.
Yes. And so all of that. But, he also got into a huge lawsuit with Brad Gray. Brad Gray,
Right.
who was his manager. These are all people I kind of knew peripherally when I was at HBO and the whole comedy thing. And at the end, you feel like, and I look forward to it myself, but how, our demons just can get worse and worse. I don't know. He ended up suing Brad. He got disenfranchised. He had some illness. But if you want to have sort of a history of LA in the 70s and 80s, a history of show business, that's all mixed into. And you hear from a lot of comedians. And I kind of love Judd Apatow, so I would not stick with something for 4.5 hours if I didn't respect Judd Apatow so much.
Okay.
So that's when you have 4.5 hours to kill, the Zen Diaries of Garry Shandling.
So it's not an ongoing series. It's just those 2 episodes.
Yes, 2 hours and 2.5. I have half hour more to go. I fear he's going to die. I feel like he's going to die, and I'm worried. So I'm sort of reserving. So that's number 7. We're ready to move on. Candace?
To
Number 6.
6.
Number 6.
Who saw Roseanne last night?
Raising
I
hands.
watched
We all raised our
We
hands.
all watched it.
An hour. Who knew?
I only got I was the same. I saw the first one. I started the second one. It was too late. I had to go to bed. So I only saw the first episode.
9 p.m.
I was finishing
tuckered
Wild
out.
Wild Country, and that was like that's 6 hours.
okay.
So, anyways, I
I have a lot to say.
Okay.
So I'm interested your take.
okay. I thought it was hilarious. I thought that. I love the idea that they're all coming back. It's like, 20 years later, all the characters are the same. In a way, I kind of like the fact that there's this tension in politics between the sisters.
It makes sense.
Because, and I feel like Roseanne probably was being more vocal about Trump and supporting Trump because the show was coming out and they had to
wonder
have
if
some
that's what
sort
if
of
it was.
Queen,
Yeah,
Stephen
huh.
Queen.
well, I mean, it's Roseanne.
Well, I
Yeah.
wonder.
You know what I mean? And I know right now we're in such a poisonous time, and we tried this on I Am Kate and it failed. Talking politics. So I'm hoping that they can get through it with laughter and jokes.
Presumably the first episode has politics, and there's less and less blatant politics as you go on.
But I'm wondering if you're absolutely right, where she made a conscious decision that the blue collar people who always supported Roseanne probably are Trump supporters, and it makes sense to have a Roseanne Connor want jobs and be for all of that.
And
Whereas
she
Jackie,
did come out, all this kind of drama came out a month or 2 ago, right?
Yeah,
And it was like right
I
before
agree.
the beginning of her show.
But unfortunately, Roseanne also has been spreading the Seth Rich controversy. Remember, Fox said that she's denigrated Muslims. She's done a lot of questionable things over the last couple of years that make me. I just don't know that I can get on board with it.
Here's the emotional. Oh, go ahead.
No. But I agree that it's nice to see them all again. It was wonderful to Dan is back, and the little gender fluid boy.
I know.
It's a great
love
storyline.
that. And in the second episode, it really brings your tears. And how just instantly there was never any homophobia or anything. It's just family. We just accept you. I love all that. I love the message. I loved seeing Darlene. I love seeing the 2 Beckys, both of them.
I know, that
was
was
hysterical.
Yeah.
So I'm right there. I don't know that I need to watch it all the time because I'm just so conflicted. But go.
I'm very torn because I feel like for so many years, Roseanne was on the edge of progressive things and the first female kiss and our values were being represented, and she was being torn apart by the conservatives for her national anthem, and I felt like we were, to be generalized, supporting her and looking beyond things and her size and everything else. And I love her and I support her. And now she's saying things that I just can't get behind.
She was, a proponent.
And I feel betrayed. And it's emotional. It doesn't, like, the show's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they're all back.
But the betrayal thing is real, and
It is real, and
she
it's hard for me too.
Yeah.
Like I can't get on board.
She
Both things are true in a
believed
way.
that Hillary was running the pizza ring out of the underage sex ring
But
out of
I
the
mean,
pizza.
I'm curious how much of this is put on She's been filming this for a long time. She's known she's been doing this. I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious if there's a part of it.
I feel like you are trying, and I don't know. No, but you're bending over backwards. No, to try to support the person that it's sort of like someone that you loved, or it's an aunt, or it's somebody, and in that way, I guess it's a real play out.
Friends, but
of course.
I don't have wacko conservative right-wing friends.
No, I have Trump supporters in my family. I have Republicans in my family, and do we look beyond that for the greater good of the show? And I don't know.
I am stuck. I don't know what to tell people.
I laughed. I enjoyed it. I got a little teary-eyed, and it's nice to see. But like with so many of these reboots, with Will and Grace and Fuller House and Dynasty and everything like that, do we really
Dirty Sexy Money?
Do we really need them though? I mean, like it's nice to revisit people, but like remember when Mary and Rhoda and they lived in New York and Mary worked for
they did that movie.
Yes, and she was like dating the senator or something.
It was always sort of sad.
It was very sad. It was like I just want to keep them sort of in a little shelf in my mind. I don't know.
I mean it's kind of hard, especially being someone who's out there pitching shows right now, especially a comedy, and having so much difficulty
Hollywood
with that.
Has no imagination. All they
Dirty
want
Sexy
is
Money. Go.
Yeah.
Go. The movie and then the thing.
No, but all it is just reboots and reimaginings.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
All right. You can watch or boycott Roseanne on ABC every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Let's move on to number 5. James.
Number 5.
Number 5, The Frankenstein Chronicles, the UK's biggest show. It's a huge juggernaut across the pond.
Let me guess. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yeah, I do. I watch a lot of Netflix. I know that's my life.
Have you seen Rita?
What's that?
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you.
I don't think that's in the format.
It's not in the format, but you
is it?
have to watch Rita.
What is it?
It's a comedy about a teacher who's like a smoker drinker. It's from I think it's from Denmark. It's really good. I've been obsessed with it.
I see the American version of Rita starring Candis Cayne.
Yes!
I'm doing a lot of pitching here, people.
That's a good idea.
Back to the Frankenstein
sorry, I
Chronicles.
interrupted.
It stars Sean Bean, okay, from Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
You know everybody.
He's a handsome older man. You know this guy. He dies in every single movie. Every single thing he's in, he gets murdered. But he plays a police inspector who is 1830 London. He's walking down the Thames and he sees this little girl's body wash ashore, and he looks at her and she's been sort of chopped up and sewn back together again like a little rag doll. And he starts to do this investigation, and he finds out that there's all these little runaways, all these little orphans who are being Frankensteined. Some serial killer is killing the little children, the street kids, and trying to reanimate their corpses. And this takes place, like I said, in 1830, so it's 10 years after the Frankenstein novel has come out. And at one point, he goes and interviews Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. At one point, he goes and talks to William Blake, the poet, about life and death and everything like that. And it's deeper than you think it's going to be, and it's very interesting. Of course, because it's 1830, you have all these marvelous top coats, and you have these little street
men
urchins,
in mustaches,
yes,
and,
and big top hats,
and
the women in their little empire gowns,
yes,
and
so
then you
good.
have all these. I'm a fool for the little street urchins in their little frock coats that are little distressed little frock coats and rags.
I have the gloves, Governor, with the fingers open,
and like the bowler with the hole in it, the patch on
they
it.
have samosa.
Please, sir, they have some. I am a fool for like a dirty street
Oh my
urchin. If
God.
I could become reincarnated, I would be like not Fagin. I would be like the Artful Dodger.
Yes.
That I would totally.
James St. James is the Artful Dodger and Candis Cayne's Rita.
So it's just it works on a lot of levels for me. I was a huge fan of Penny Dreadful. I don't know if you remember. I gushed about that show 100 times here.
Yeah.
It was the 19th century, and it was Dr. Frankenstein and Dr. Jekyll and the Wolfman, and they all fought crime in 19th century London. I went bananas for it. And this sort of takes the same place for me. I love it. Frankenstein Chronicles, that's all I gotta say.
James, I know. It's the James St. James, seal of approval. Ladies.
Yes.
Netflix seal of approval. It's another show I'm pitching.
But I do want to say though that I have been watching a little Hulu, and I've watched 140 episodes of Dark Shadows at this point.
Oh my God.
I started with number 1, and I am now a year into it. It's not colorized yet, but we can talk about that later.
All
I
right.
kind of did that with Charmed because I never watched it the first time
You
around.
did 7 episodes
I
or
did
7
7
series.
seasons of watching back-to-back Charmed.
We are
I
so
love
lucky that you two are out of the house and here on
I know.
the Wow Report.
Well, I do
This
get
is a big
home by
day.
6,
This is a big day.
in bed by 10.
That's true. All right, the Frankenstein Chronicles is now streaming on Netflix. We're going to take a break. Before we do, our fabulous millennial producer Blake is about to give us a trivia question he's chosen just for you, the listener.
Roseanne, how much did she make in the final season of her show, and how much does she make now?
Oh, money, money, money. Answers to that and so much more when the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM continues. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. It's Tom Campbell, it's James St. James, and our extra special guest star, Candis Cayne.
Hello.
So
We
glad you're
are
here.
I'm
blessed.
so happy to be here and see you two and hang out because I only ever see you guys at like events
When there's a microphone
when
in
there's a
front of you.
microphone in my face.
We don't
Or
wanna-
there's a million people around, or so it's nice to just kind
Well,
of
this
talk.
is this is the only way I ever get to see anybody is because all the drag queens eventually come
Right.
here, and then we get nice guests on the show.
Yeah.
So because I don't go out anymore,
Yeah,
I am a
watch a
homebody.
little
I'm
less
loose.
Netflix and go to eat at a diner or something. Blake, before the break, you asked us a thrilling trivia question about Roseanne. Hit it.
How much money did Roseanne make in the final season of the first run, and how much does she make now per episode?
It was, 20 years ago? I feel like Friends were the first ones to make $1 million an episode. So I feel like
Right.
that's too much. I felt like she made $800,000 an episode, and now she makes $1 million an episode.
I'm going to say because she was the producer, I'm going to say she gave herself, by the very end, she was giving herself $1 million. And I'm saying now she is 500,000.
I'm gonna say 500,000 and 600,000.
I love you for that.
Okay.
A lot of numbers.
She made $650,000
Ding, 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 ding. Candace wins that one.
Uh-huh.
for the last season and $250,000 for this season.
Yeah, that's interesting,
I
isn't
won
it?
that one too. Just
Because
let's not forget that.
You win. And so we'll give you all the coffees. We had a coffee run in between the break here. That's fascinating. Good stuff, Blake. She said she's pulled back, that Sarah Gilbert is the driving force. She's the one who wanted to do this, so she's fighting all the
Well,
fights.
and I love Sarah.
Yeah.
She was great. She was my favorite on the show last night.
Yeah.
She was really
She
good.
does. She's a good actress.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
All right. What are we doing, you guys? We're counting down the top 10 things that make us go,
Wow.
And we've reached number 4.
Number 4.
I was all excited to watch this show, Barry, on HBO.
Oh, right, yeah.
You guys seen it
With
yet?
the Fonz. Fonz is on it.
The fun. Hey.
Hey.
And it's Bill Hader.
Which
And I'm not a hater. What?
I was gonna say because he's so known for Stefan and for his
Yes.
wacky role. And I was thinking that the first thing he did, he has to hit it out of the ballpark, does he?
Here's my complaint. Okay, Garry Shandling, 4.5 hours. Still recommending you see the documentary on HBO. HBO drops the first half hour of Barry on Sunday.
Whoa.
I need more than one episode. Even Roseanne, they back-to-backed it, like because it's getting great reviews, and I'm willing to believe it's good.
But you don't see it yet.
It's just it's slow burn. And we are Netflix people.
Yeah.
We are Hulu honeys. we need it fast. No, but I was in a meeting at a high-profile kind of streaming company. I'll leave it at that. And they were saying that research shows that if you watch 3 episodes of something,
You'll be hooked.
You're in.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And so people don't necessarily want to dump their whole season. They don't have enough inventory just to say, oh, here it's gone.
But isn't that the new paradigm? Isn't that the new they know that we are a streaming nation now,
Right.
and that we are a marathon nation, and that
Right.
we do it all at one dump.
But I just wish they had Bill Hader's show, The Barry, they had dropped 3 episodes, and then we could get them a week after week.
Well, so tell us what it's about.
You've seen because it doesn't the trailer isn't very compelling either, because it's kind of high concept, low concept. He is a war vet from Afghanistan who comes back. He is flat.
Stefan is a war vet.
Barry, and his father died. His uncle got him to be a hitman. Basically said, take what you learned in Afghanistan and you make money doing it. So he's kind of just depressed and lives in an empty room and kills people. And he has to go kill someone in Los Angeles. Some Russian rich guy his wife is banging a personal trainer who lives in Silver Lake. Okay, now we can relate. And so he follows the guy, staking him out, and he goes. The personal trainer that he's supposed to kill is going to an acting class, run by acting guru Henry Winkler.
Okay,
not Henry playing himself, but he's just this. Henry Winkler's an amazing actor. It's a perfect role for him. And so he goes in and he ends up getting sucked up into acting. He thinks acting is the thing that will save me. So he decides to get out of the business of killing, but of course it keeps sucking him back in. So now he's like got new acting friends, and it's it's the other HBO show, right? Is the one about the comedian. There's a little of that inwardness of like, it's actors about acting, it's comedians about comedy. It has enough layers, and the breakout star in it.
I was going to say, who are the supporting actors?
The only one I'm going to talk about other than Henry Winkler is Ryder Doyle. Do you remember Ryder?
Yes.
He is amazing. He was in Not Today, Bianca, which is the Citizen Kane of World of Wonder. Those were 2 pilots we did. You must have been busy, because I'm sure we called you to be in it. We called everybody. We're like, would you please come tomorrow at 10 o'clock for 10 minutes and shoot a scene? But Ryder Doyle played Bianca's nephew in Not Today, Bianca, a 2-pilot comedy.
But where else do we know him from?
He's John, and we know him through John Hill. He's so fucking funny, and he's really cute, and you need to know him. I know somebody that James doesn't know. I feel like that's what today's show was about, everybody. That was the breakthrough I had.
Hold on.
So the critics who I read a lot, I'm trying to figure out what to watch and how to use my time. They clearly have gotten 3 episodes of the whole season. They're saying it's great. I believe them. I think that Bill Hader is one of the funniest people alive and plays many layers. So I'm willing to go there, and I probably should have picked another topic to talk about. Because I'm just pissing on it, but I wanted to see more. But we can see more of Barry, about the killer who's trying to be an actor. Sundays at 10:30 on HBO. All right. So tune in, and maybe we'll edit this whole part out. But we are at a very exciting part of the show. I like to call this number 3.
Number 3.
James,
Number
James.
3.
Oh, see,
I'm sorry.
No, it's
Wait. We're at an even more exciting part of the show. Number 3, Candis Cayne.
Okay, number 3. You guys, I just started watching Wild Wild Country on Netflix, and I got completely sucked into it. It's like a 6-part docu-series of all of this footage from the 80s and interviews from the people who were involved in this cult-like Rajneesh cult that was in Oregon. It started in India. There was this leader, Ashri. I'm trying to remember all the goddamn names. I can't figure it out.
You're welcome to our show.
But
We
yes,
never get a name right. We never get a name
but
right.
Bhagwan Shri Rajneesh is this spiritual leader.
Oh, when she Rajneesh.
Yes.
Yes.
And
know him well.
Hell,
Yeah.
and he was living in India and was doing kind of a shady thing, and he had his personal secretary, Sheila, I think it was.
Sheila.
Come to Oregon, find a small town where they could create this utopian society and kind of take over this small town of like 40 people in the middle of Oregon in the mountains. And it was kind of crazy because they got to this town, and of course it's all these like kind of hicks, like what the hell is going on here?
Simple country folk.
Simple country folk. And, all of these kind of hippie, free love, spiritual kind of people just kind of took over, created a complete society, built huge buildings, started running for office. I mean, it was like a big, huge
Now,
scandal.
but the people who joined the cult, are they Americans or was it a lot of
all over the world.
Oh, so everybody is coming here.
When I grew up in Maui at Haleakala School, there were Rajneeshis there.
Oh, really?
And I remember seeing women and like
they have a necklace or
they
something.
have a beaded necklace with his face on it, and I was like, "Wait, I know that face," because I remember
Oh my
seeing it as a
God.
kid. Some of the
Really?
parents, yes,
Cult
Honey,
member Candis
that's
Cayne.
right. Just come with me to
Come to my
Oregon.
van.
To my van. We're gonna drive up to Oregon.
I'm like a whore for like the ID channel and everything, and I think I've seen this on one of those
Oh, really?
like shows.
Well, people are going bananas for this because there's a core family, I guess, that they follow, and who the father, the daughter, the son, everybody joins except for the mother, right?
That wasn't in this version. I
Okay.
think this one was like there was like one-on-one interviews with some of the town folk. And it was the people that were embroiled in this scandal, Sheila, and a couple of other like people that were high up in his, in his.
But they
temple.
also they weren't good people because didn't they spread salmonella or something?
Well, that was the whole thing. There was
Yes.
this scandal. It all started out good, and then the town folk started getting the Oregon government involved, trying to kick them out, and so they, in a panic, started
Retaliating,
fighting back. So it was really both sides.
But at one point, they got a bunch of salmonella and they went to a
The-
salad bar and sprayed it
the
on
doctor did, yeah.
Yes, and the whole town ended up getting sick.
And he had like
Spoiler
70,
alert.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he had like 70 Rolls Royces. Like it kind of got crazy. It started out like every utopian
Off show
society
or whatever,
It
yes.
starts out with really great ideas and
by the end, you're
promises. By
drinking
the end,
Kool-Aid
you're drinking
and-
Kool-Aid.
yeah.
Yeah,
So how is this different than the gentrification of Highland Park?
exactly.
A bunch of people move in, they build towers.
I mean, coming
everyone gets
from
sick.
hippy dippy kind of family, like I was feeling bad for the Rajneeshis. Like I know that feeling of having people gang up on you and not being accepted, and then. So it's another torn thing.
Well, I remember as a teenager wanting to run away and joining the Hare Krishnas. That was sort of like a goal of mine. I loved the robes. I carried the little Bhagavad Gita around with me at school all the time. And I understand
Right.
that mentality.
But anytime you actually follow someone and that you start to get like, oh my God, I love him so much, and go crazy, that's when it's like, okay.
Right.
So you would never have joined a cult? When
No,
you were, no,
no.
never.
I'm not a spiritual person, but
The
not a
closest
religious
thing I guess
person.
I've experienced is my love for Diana Ross.
Oh. Which was your birthday this week?
I know.
Happy birthday,
Miss
Diana
Ross.
Ross.
I love you. I'll follow you anywhere. I'll do whatever you want. I'll spray salmonella on people. Wild Country sounds really.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
I know every time because you mentioned it the other day, and 5 people in the office were like, "Wild Country is so
yes,
fabulous!"
yes.
Yes.
It's
really
on
good.
Netflix. Where else? Everything good's on Netflix. We are now at another exciting kind of peak of the show. Number 2.
Number 2.
Oh, that's me. I never get number 2. Oh my God, I'm number 2. I'm number 2. I'm number 2. I went to go see Annihilation over the weekend.
Yes.
The Natalie Portman movie. Okay.
Looks scary.
It's it's not what you think it is. It's got terrible reviews, but great word of mouth.
All right.
Anyone that you talk to here in the office, everybody says the Annihilation is really fantastic. It's Natalie Portman, and she's in her I'm a scientist mode. You know how I think she has a sort of a complex about her intelligence because she often plays scientists. And
Well,
she's
she went to Harvard, didn't she?
Oh, she did, but I think that was another thing too. Like, nobody believes that I'm smart, so I'm going to go to Harvard. Yeah,
And
you
does she
know.
have glasses?
I love
She wears
her.
glasses. Yeah.
Wait, costuming comes by like.
Remember-
yes,
because remember-
these are the glasses that
Yeah.
this
In
scientist
Thor,
wore.
she's like in a Prada dress, but she has like a little white lab coat over
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and little glasses, and a bun.
And she still looks flawless.
She still
true.
looks flawless.
She's
She's
such a
absolutely
beauty.
gorgeous. Well, speaking of flawless, her husband in this is Oscar Isaacs, who is the handsomest man in Hollywood. He has the part it was absolutely nothing. Like he's in flashbacks. He's in bed with her.
Does he take a shower at any point?
He bends over and you can see his ass cheek. I mean, he's really, really hot. And they just use him for eye candy the whole time.
showers.
Oh my God!
in
Yeah, I
movies for
saw
me.
the long extended preview. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
But this is it's basically 4 women, 4 kick-ass women. There's Gina Rodriguez. There's
Love her.
Natalie Portman and Jennifer Jason Leigh, who we haven't seen in forever,
Wow.
and she plays a tough as nails army sergeant who leads these women. There's a giant shimmering wall that has gone up around this lighthouse in the middle of nowhere, and it keeps expanding, and they keep sending people into the shimmer, they call it. And they don't know whether it's from another dimension. They don't know if it's aliens. They don't know if it's God.
Sounds like a glitter curtain to me.
It's a giant glitter curtain. It is. It's sort of
Shimmer
bad
is a glitter
CGI.
curtain.
But they go into it, and it's this sort of fantastical swamp that is recreating. It's like splicing together all these genes, and you have like a shark that's part alligator, and you have these wonderful little white deer that have these floral horns. Instead of horns, they have giant flowers coming out of their heads, and everything sort of seems to be mashing together, and you don't know really what's going on, and you don't really need to know what's going on. It just sort of goes on, and everyone dies one by one. And spoiler alert!
alert.
But at the very end, Natalie Portman finally makes it to the lighthouse, which is where they're trying to get into this lighthouse.
Behind the shimmering curtain.
Behind the shimmering curtain. And the last 15 minutes of the movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's sort of like 2001 Space Odyssey, where it's, it was made for people on acid. Yes. It's basically the craziest K-hole you've ever been in your life, where there are these...
That's saying a lot from James St. James.
There's like these crazy mirror monsters, and there's like this sort of throbbing walls and a giant hole that you fall. It's very, very crazy and very trippy. And you go to it just for because you wonder the whole time, and you're trying to figure out whether it's an alien, blah, 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 but you're actually thinking, is this CGI? Is this actually a set? Is this, did they go to a swamp and just put all these fabulous flowers? Like, you're trying to figure out the mechanics of
Why
making
can't I
the
feel
movie.
my hands?
Exactly.
That kind of stuff's going on.
But go because it's fun to
Did I
see.
fall
Like I said,
asleep
it's
again?
It's go for Oscar Isaacs, go for Natalie Portman, go for Jennifer Jason Leigh,
This
and go for the set.
Feels like it kind of goes into Fenton's philosophy, which is the kind of the flawed movies are the best movies right now.
Yes, and there are a lot of flaws in this, and it's but it is a good, rousing,
Provocative and things of that nature. All right. Well, we have to take a break, but when we come back, we're gonna announce the number one thing that made us go wow this week, plus the Resistor of the week. So don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report from Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood, California. I'm Tom Campbell here with James St. James.
And Candis Cayne.
And Candis Cayne.
Whoa! And let's not forget Blake, our producer.
Hold.
Candice, this is from now on. This will be Candis Cayne presents the Wow Report, and we will be carrying coffee. It's so nice to have you here, Candice. This is the moment where we really are all waiting for. It's the number one thing that made us go wow this week.
Number 1.
What is it?
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy.
Wait, did you wait?
Stormy Daniels.
No. Jackie Beat just came out with a new song, and it's to stormy weather.
Yeah, it's Stormy
Stormy Daniels. I haven't seen the words, but she's genius. So
Well, this week, obviously, she talked to 60 Minutes, and we all saw that. And it was an interesting interview. I wanted there to be more. I thought there was going to be more. I thought there was going to be video or audio or like an abortion story or something.
Or smell my finger or something, something.
But I have to say, obviously it happened.
Yeah.
There's when people
No
say
doubt.
allege, it's ridiculous. We know men. All of us know men.
yeah.
We lived
Some
in New York
more
City.
than other, yes.
We
lived in New York
remember-
City. I know that man.
Yeah.
I've seen that man. I've been around that man.
Yeah, we all have.
Candis
you know.
Cayne, are you admitting here as an exclusive on the Wow Report that you have slept with Donald Trump?
I have not. I will not.
We
I
can still
never
use that-
have. I
we can
never
still
will.
use it as a teaser.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Candis Cayne reveal that she slept with Donald Trump? Find out next on the Wow Report.
But there is never for a moment where you doubt what she's saying. She is
Exactly.
so She's so honest. She's so likable. She really is. She's smart. She's funny. She's just on it.
It's annoying to me that they're always like porn star.
No, but the thing is, I don't believe that Stormy's going to be the one to bring him down. I think that it's all sort of a sideshow right now. I think that we have a lot of really important things. I like her out there. I love the attorney. I
think he is sexy.
Sexy.
Yeah,
in a hot second, boy.
Represent me.
Do something wrong, quick.
Yeah,
I did see today that they're trying to get Donald to take a deposition about it. That he put in some sort of
right.
Yeah. But I don't know that. I think it might be a.
Well, I think she's like, I'm sick of him calling me a liar, and that's how this all came out.
Yeah.
And the whole hush money thing is
I
super
do know a couple other porn
his
stars who've
lawyers.
said that they've slept with him, and
Adult actresses?
Adult actresses, yeah.
I mean, who hasn't?
Hey,
If you have a nice rack and you're between his daughter's age and maybe 5 years older, I'm sure he's,
But I do like that we have a new star. I like that we have a new. I want her to be on. I want her to get a World of Wonder
she's
show.
She's really pleasant to look at. I'm not going to be really superficial, but she's like she's very presentable.
Yeah,
she's very bright. She's funny.
She's not a bubble-headed, reality teenager. I like the fact that she's been around the block. She knows what she's talking about.
Seems
even on her tweets. Have you read her tweets?
I love
people
her.
are trying to come for her,
No,
you're a dirty cocksucker.
I think she should have like an insult show, like your mama show or something like that. And she,
so funny.
Yeah, I think
it's a
we're
good thing
so.
I had a lot of practice, stuff like that. It's just amazing that she's like.
We're
letting
blessed
it roll
in
off her.
2018 that we have this new influx of we have like Gus Kenworthy, Adam Rippon, Stormy Daniels. We have the Parkland kids. We have these new icons out there that I'm really excited for everybody to take down the world.
I love it. I just read one thing that I loved is that she also like the complexity of life. And at one point Anderson asked her, "Did you sleep with him or did you believe him when he said he was going to put you on the Celebrity Apprentice, or do you think he was just like blowing smoke?" She's like, "Both." It's just like,
totally.
That's Hollywood.
But I might as well try.
Yeah. And so you're in the circus. Did you want to sleep with him? Not really, but I kind of have taken it too far. And some people are calling that out as like, that's consent and stuff. But like, I don't know. I feel like I've been in those
positions. Sure.
I say about sex, which is horrible, but I would be in sexual situations more anonymous and out there back in my youth. And it'd be just like, ooh, this isn't really that good, but oh well.
Yeah, I've come this far.
I just feel like sex is like pizza. It's like, all right. Got
or
delivered,
when you
go.
show up and you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yes.
So you're just like,
there's a special place in heaven. There's a special place in heaven for people who follow through on their grind.
For you, Blake. You are so generous. With your...
So if you're missing a limb or have some scarring,
that's hot.
Look for Blake.
Oh.
That's hot. That's good.
No,
there's a lid for every pot, by the way, right?
I love scars.
We love Stormy. All right, let's move on to the Resistor of the Week. I think we have to talk about the Parkland kids and the thousands and millions of young people and the people who followed them on the march last weekend. It was
bigger than the women's march, right?
My brother flew out there.
Yeah,
to Washington D.C.
Just following Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg and a couple of the other ones. I can't remember. I'm blanking right now. But they're such wonderful kids, and they are. I'm so worried about them because I don't know if you see what the NRA is doing, what Dana Loesch, what
they're
Republicans,
a threat, and you know they have power because the NRA is doing total PR attacks on them.
And that's why this is going to go somewhere, because they are kids.
Yeah.
Because when adults try to come for the NRA, they have no defense. They can be attacked and it can be justified, but no one can justify attacking a 14-year-old kid.
Did you see Senator the King, the representative Steve King, and
daughter?
When he was coming for Emma Gonzalez for wearing the Cuba patch and saying, like a representative, one of our, the government, the Republicans coming for these little kids who have been through just this
the only
horrific
reason
attack.
why people come for these kind of movements is because they know it's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no way to justify AR-15s.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No.
Common sense gun laws, not the striking down of the Second Amendment, people.
That's what everybody...
Take down. I think we can take away the Second Amendment. I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that too, but that's the liberal...
Shh,
we're not allowed to talk
sneaking in
about
the back
that.
door.
Okay.
We know a little about that. Okay, you guys, a couple plugs. RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10, which is kicking ass on VH1. RuPaul's Drag Race. You should check it out. You should meet. I want to introduce you to RuPaul.
Oh my God, I would wait. That's the tall one.
Yeah, the top one.
Oh my God, I love you.
Yes. Every Thursday at 8 p.m., 90-minute episodes followed immediately by Untucked half hour. So you have 2 hours of Drag Race on
good.
VH1.
I
On
like
a
the
mainstream
girls.
network, let's not take for granted. There is a drag show for 2 long, beautiful hours. Please watch. Sell It Like Sirhan, a spinoff of Ryan Sirhan from Million Dollar
I
Listing.
love him so much.
Is
Oh my
doing
God,
a
he's
show,
so wonderful.
and he is so sexy and smart
So
and entertaining.
sexy.
And he has a new show called Selling It Like Sirhan on Bravo. April 11th it starts, and he helps low salesmen become the high salesman. And he's wearing suits, and his thighs are so thick. I'm sorry I said it. And last but not
I used
least,
to watch him on Another World.
I'm not mad at that either.
No,
I like a
I
tight
love
suit
it.
with a thick thigh.
A thick thigh and a tie. That's
Yeah.
all I need. I focus on that. And then the last but not least is coming up May 11th, 12th, and 13th at the LA Convention Center. It's RuPaul's DragCon.
Yes.
Are you coming this year?
I'm out of town.
Will you
I
FaceTime
got
with
a
me? Will you
booking. I
FaceTime with
will.
me? I'll take you around the floor.
I love that.
That's what we're gonna do.
I know,
All right.
Damn it.
Can we just make that a new Wow Presents Plus show where it's
Yes.
just taking Candace around?
Yes,
on a
oh
boat,
my
just
God.
like
Hey,
walking down the
Candace,
boulevard.
we're about to walk in with Blake and his grinder date. Let's see what happens. No, wouldn't do that to you.
Calling
Wouldn't do that to you.
Candace.
Oh my
Calling
God.
Candace
oh my
is
God,
it?
calling
Yes.
Candace.
Calling Candace. Two great ideas.
Yes.
Fenton Bailey, we miss you. Come back soon. Probably next week, I hope. And until then, until the next time we all get together, or see each other, or FaceTime, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.